There are a lot of Florida homeowners that are losing their homes. I made a video recently about the mortgage crisis that so many people are facing. A lot of people mortgage have increased. And because of that, there are a lot of people going into default. There's also another side to this because in some cases, losing your home doesn't always start with you missing your mortgage. A lot of people think foreclosure only happens when someone completely stops paying their mortgage. That's not always the case, and that's what makes this so scary. Now, Florida had one of the highest foreclosure rates in the country in 2025. And in 2026, a lot of homeowners are quietly feeling the pressure, especially here in Florida. And there's one mistake I keep seeing homeowners make that turn their small financial problems into bigger ones. And we're going to talk about that today. Now, before anybody starts panicking, there are a lot of Florida homeowners who still have equity in their homes. But let's not sugarcoat it. Homeownership has become much more expensive. And the numbers are starting to reflect that pressure. According to Adam, in the first quarter of 2026, the report says that Florida had over 10,000 foreclosure initiated, which started in just the first few months of 2026. One of the highest totals in the country. And if you haven't been paying attention, it's been all over the news.
Floridians are falling behind on mortgage payments, leading to foreclosures. New research shows it's happening here more than any other state in the country. A closer look at the numbers from real estate analytics firm Adam shows 1 in every 230 housing units in Florida started the foreclosure filing process in 2025. Researchers say in Lakeland, the numbers were even more severe, with 1 in every 145 Floridians filing for foreclosure.
Florida having one of the highest foreclosure rates in the country is one of the new headlines. But the real story is what happens before a foreclosure ever begins. Because for many homeowners, it doesn't start with just one giant financial disaster. It starts with rising insurance costs, higher property tax, HOA increases, special assessments, unexpected financial setback, and so much more. Small problems that seem manageable at first can quietly grow into much bigger ones when they're ignored. And it's not just us real estate agents that are talking about it. The local news outlet across Florida have been reporting on rising foreclosure activities and the financial strain it has on many homeowners. Let's start with South Florida because the numbers here tell a story. Let's look at Miami-Dade foreclosure auction data for the first 5 months of 2026. There were nearly 400 foreclosure auctions in January alone. And even in May, there were still almost 300 foreclosure auctions scheduled across the county. Now, it's important to understand something. Not every foreclosure auction results in someone losing their home. In fact, many cases are canceled before the auction ever happens. But what these numbers do show is that foreclosure activity remains elevated across Miami-Dade County. And that's why homeowners need to pay attention before small financial issues become bigger problems. And with so much of our housing costs rising, for some homeowners, the monthly budget that used to feel manageable will suddenly feel tight. And that's really the bigger conversation happening across Florida right now, not just home prices, but the actual cost of keeping up with your house. And when pressure starts building financially, small problems can become serious much faster than expected, especially when homeowners wait too long to deal with them. Now, let's say someone falls behind on one of their mortgage payments. They think, okay, I'll catch up next month. Then another bill hits. Now they're 2 months behind. And at this point, a lot of people stop opening letters from the lender because they get stressed out. And emotionally, I get it. Nobody wants to read bad news. But avoiding the situation is where things start to get dangerous because lenders usually send warnings early. And many homeowners actually have options in the beginning. They have payment plans for you, hardship programs, loan modifications, forbearance. But here's where people mess up. They wait too long to ask for help. And when you look at Miami-Dade foreclosure data, you can actually see how many homeowners are reaching that point. Hundreds of foreclosure cases are entering the system every month. The goal isn't to scare people. It's to remind homeowners that the earlier they address the problem, the more options they have available to them. You don't want to wait last minute and by the time you finally make the call, the situation is too hard to fix. And something else is happening too. Homes are sitting longer in some areas compared to the super fast market we saw before. And that changes everything. But here's a surprise. Mortgage payments are not the only way people are losing their homes in Florida. What I'm about to tell you next shocks a lot of homeowners because some people lose their home to foreclosure while their home is completely current. This one catches people by surprise all the time, especially in Miami and HOA community. Let's say your mortgage is fully paid on time every single month. You think everything's fine, but maybe you fall behind on your HOA dues or special assessments, or you were just late. That's why ignoring HOA notices is one of the worst things homeowners can do. And honestly, this is becoming more important right now because condo costs in Florida has been climbing a lot. A lot of homeowners are getting hit with higher HOA fees, reserve requirements, special assessment, insurance increases, and some people were generally not prepared for how expensive homeownership would be. Now, here's the mistake that makes it worse. People wait until attorneys get involved. And at that point, costs can rise very quickly because the legal fees starts stacking up too. And wait until you hear the foreclosure risk that almost nobody's talking about. Because this next one can happen even if you don't owe the bank or the HOA. A lot of homeowners assume if my mortgage is paid, I'm safe. Not always. Let's talk about property taxes for a second. If your property taxes go unpaid long enough, counties can eventually move towards tax deed sales or tax lien foreclosure processes. And here's the problem. Some homeowners don't even realize that they're behind at first, especially if escrow change or insurance increases cause a shortage or your monthly payment adjusted unexpectedly. Now imagine someone already struggling financially. They're juggling bills and trying to stay afloat, and then they get a notice about unpaid taxes and assume, I still have time. That delay can become dangerous, and this doesn't stop with taxes. There are also liens that can cause you to go into foreclosure. For example, you hire a contractor. Maybe there's a payment dispute. Maybe there's a subcontractor who never got paid. They can put a lien on your property. Or maybe someone faces a lawsuit for unpaid debt or judgment. Those situations can create major problems tied to your home as well. Most homeowners never think about this stuff until it's already serious. And look, I know this sounds heavy for a lot of you. And I'm not saying everybody in Florida is suddenly about to lose their home. Most homeowners are completely fine. But a lot of people generally don't realize how many different financial issues can quietly put their property at risk. And with costs rising across Florida and the US, these conversations are becoming a lot more important than they used to be. And honestly, that's why I wanted to make this video, to keep you all informed, because too many Florida homeowners only learn these things after they're already deep in the problem. But there is one foreclosure related issue that's growing quietly right now and has nothing to do with being financially irresponsible. Some homeowners are literally becoming victims of scams tied to their property ownership. And if you own a property, you should absolutely know about this. Now, this is gonna sound too good to be true for some of you until you realize it can actually happen. There are scammers who try to forge documents, transfer ownership records, or take loans against a property illegally. And vacant homes, rental properties, and elderly homeowners can especially become their main targets. Now, obviously, this is not happening to most people, but it's becoming important enough that counties are warning homeowners about it. And here's what makes this a little scary. A lot of homeowners don't check their property records regularly, so months can pass before they notice something is wrong. And that's why many counties now offer free property fraud alerts. Basically, if any changes happen connected to your property records, you'll get notified. And honestly, every Florida homeowner should probably look into whether their county offers this service, because your home is likely your biggest asset, so protecting it is very important. So here's the biggest takeaway from all of this. Most foreclosure situations don't begin with one giant disaster. Usually they start with smaller issues people think they can handle later, and that's exactly what Miami-Dade numbers seem to reflect. We're seeing financial pressure, rising costs from so many different areas, and those costs are pushing homeowners into difficult situations. And right now, Florida home ownership costs are putting pressure on people in ways we haven't seen in years. That doesn't mean everyone is going into foreclosure. Far from it. But it does mean homeowners need to stay alert financially, especially if your monthly costs have jumped, you're relying heavily on credit cards, your HOA fees are increased, or your payments suddenly feel tight. The earlier people face the problem, the more options they usually have. And that's the key. Waiting almost always makes it harder. Now, if you're a homeowner, this is really the season to pay attention to your numbers. Know what's due, open your mail, check your property record. Don't wait until things become overwhelming before asking questions or getting help. If you've noticed rising costs, insurance increases, HOA hikes, or changes happening in your area, let me know in the comments. I'm curious what you're seeing where you live. And if you want more honest conversations about what's really happening with Florida real estate, make sure you subscribe. And before we end, I just want to leave you with this. A lot of these situations remind us how important wisdom and preparation really are. Sometimes we think avoiding a problem makes it disappear, but usually it just grows over time. And there's a verse in Proverbs that says, "The prudent sees danger and takes refuge, but the simple keeps going and pay the penalty." We have to pay attention early. Ask questions, prepare yourself, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Let me know what videos you guys want to see next. Leave them in the comments. And if you haven't yet, make sure you go ahead and watch my mortgage crisis video on why payments are skyrocketing. Thank you for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.